Hi, welcome to today's episode. Today we are going to talk about a subject which matters a lot to everybody. And for that subject, we have Ms. Nandini with us, who is a clinical psychologist and also an assistant professor in one of the leading universities in India. Welcome, Ms. Nandini.
Hi.
Today we are going to decode some myths about anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. And also, we would request you to share some truth and facts that can help our people understand all these subjects in a much better way. So, Ms. Nandini, the very first question that I want to ask you is, what's the thin line or what's the difference between depression and anxiety? As we see most of the people saying these days that they are depressed, it's become a very common word. In fact, it's become like a fad with a lot of people that everybody around is depressed or they're facing depression. But as much as I understand, there's certainly a difference between depression and anxiety, and we want you to throw some light on that.
To understand depression and anxiety, people often get confused because these two conditions often coexist with each other,
Right.
leading to difficulty in differentiation whether I am going through anxiety or depression. So when we talk about depression, it is primarily understood as significant feelings of sadness, worthlessness, hopelessness, emptiness, and besides that, there is a change in sleep patterns. There can be insomnia or hypersomnia, that is increased sleep or lack
Either
of sleep.
sleeping too less or sleeping
Right,
too much.
right. Similarly, there is appetite changes, weight changes. It can be either on the higher side, that is increase in weight, increase in appetite, or on the lower side.
And this we're saying, so any sudden or a drastic change, whether it is lowering or increasing, is a sign of depression.
Right, which is not due to any medicine or external support. It is happening due to the condition that the individual is going through. Besides that, there is an inability or a complete lack in getting pleasure from most of the activities which the person usually used to enjoy. Now they don't enjoy mostly anything in life. So there is a lack of pleasure, and there is no pleasure seeking behavior also. So these are some of the primary features that we see in depression. And now when we talk about anxiety, anxiety on the other hand, it is mainly a combination of restlessness, hypervigilance, and difficulty in breathing.
And how is fear associated to anxiety?
So if we try to decode the word anxiety, it literally means fear of the unknown or fear of the future.
Right.
So something that has not actually happened and we anticipate that it might happen in the future. For example, I may meet through an accident when I drive,
Right.
or if I take a flight, then the flight might crash. So it's always a might, it's an anticipation that something bad or catastrophic is about to happen.
Right.
So it is fear, but mostly fear without a factual base.
Yes, like we see people who get anxiety of exams or who get anxiety of an interview, which is something that they're scared of, or developing a cold feet. But then there are people who are just scared of losing somebody while there's nothing around that happening. The people who have impulsive heartbeats and they say my heart is pumping, I'm anxious, and I don't even know what I'm anxious about. So can we talk a little more about that? What level or what stage is that when people start feeling it physically in their body?
Right. See, we have to understand that there is a difference between anxiety when we talk about on day-to-day basis, and then we talk about anxiety as a disorder.
Right.
It's called anxiety disorder.
Which is clinical, you say?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
clinical, where the person definitely needs professional help of some kind, maybe counseling or psychotherapy or medications when the severity is increased.
Right.
So when do we say for any condition, let's say for any condition, when do we say it's a disorder? When there is significant impairment and distress in our day-to-day activities.
So can you tell us a little more about those significant changes, or what are the 4 or 5 things that one or the relatives or friends should notice that now the person
Right.
needs clinical help?
Like we were discussing, sudden changes in sleep patterns, appetite. That is a generic mental health concern that people face when they are going to some kind of clinical condition, or otherwise also mental health conditions when they increase, right?
So since we are talking about the difference between depression and anxiety, it is important to know what stage is it when you should consider consulting a doctor. So what are the physical or mental impairment that we're talking about here?
in a very layman language, if I'll say, when I start feeling that this is beyond my capacity to control or my family's capacity to control or manage, I should immediately seek for professional help. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that if I feel that okay, I just don't need a doctor, because we Indians specifically have a tendency that we are resilient and I can fix myself on my own.
Yeah.
So I'm not promoting that attitude when I'm saying this, but at the same time, I understand that even after trying my best, even after bringing about lifestyle changes or doing things on my own, I still feel that nothing is bringing about a change.
Right.
And there is something that might need some kind of professional intervention. So when we say someone has a fever, everyone knows that paracetamol is the medicine for fever, and we take it, and then we know we have taken it for 2 days, the fever is not going off, warding off.
Right.
So now we understand that there might be some infection in the body, which
because
may
fever
need,
is just a symptom of an infection.
right, it's a symptom of the infection.
Right.
So we might need to consult a doctor, we might need to undergo some assessments and tests through which we will get to know the underlying cause of the fever. Similarly, in mental health concerns, we are just dealing with the tip of the iceberg when we are trying to control things on our own. So we have to go find out the underlying symptoms. So let's say my sleep is disturbed for continuous 2 weeks or at least a month.
Right.
My appetite is disturbed, I'm feeling sad, worthless for at least a month, right? So, and whatever I try, it's not warding off, it's not going away. So maybe I need professional help. Similarly with anxiety also, the triggers are increasing. Even the minutest of the situations lead me to feeling anxious, and I always feel that I am on the edge.
Right.
Right, and it is just not going away. And my interpersonal relationships are getting disturbed, then my work-life balance is getting disturbed. I start skipping office, I start skipping school and college, and I want to stay on my bed all the time. So these are all red flags or clear indicators that some kind
time
of
to seek
professional
help,
intervention
or
is
at least
needed.
consider that this is not normal, it is not happening just like that, and it would just not go away like that.
Right, and this is something we're talking in terms of disorder per se, but at the same time, people go to gym, right, to maintain a healthy lifestyle,
Right.
to maintain good physical body
and
or
appearance,
a physique or general health. Similarly, when someone wants to seek therapy, it's not important that you have to have a mental disorder to seek therapy, but at the same time,
I think that's a very good point we are talking here, because people do not, in fact, people shy away from even saying that they're seeking mental health therapists, or they're seeking mental health help, because they just think it's like so far, even like, you know, in such a progressive time, there are still people who think it's a taboo to have mental health issues. Right. But as very well explained, that like going to the gym is just keeping healthy and maintaining a healthier and, you know, appearance and a body and a lifestyle. It's no harm just seeking a mental health therapist, even if you're feeling too angry, too anxious, too frustrated for a few days. Right.
So it's never a harm to go and visit a professional. I mean, there are times when we need a third person's perspective or a better outlook by someone who's trained, who has done studies about it and have, you know, scientific evidence to deal with the same kind of problem. So it is always better to go to a professional, even if it is a day-to-day stress that is causing some kind of problem in my life.
Right. So what we see these days is every second person is going through some mental health issues, right? It's like an epidemic, and it is majorly happening, or majorly we are able to see it post-COVID times. And when we discuss it with our parents or grandparents, then they say कि हमारे ज़माने में तो ऐसा नहीं होता था, हमारे ज़माने में तो ये सब चीज़ें थी ही नहीं. And some of the parents even have gone on saying on record that आजकल डिप्रेशन इसलिए होता है क्योंकि न्यूक्लियर फैमिलीज हो गई हैं, बच्चे अलग रहने लगे हैं, यंग एज में या यूथ में बच्चे बाहर निकल जाते हैं, अकेलापन है इसलिए डिप्रेशन है और कुछ नहीं है. बट हाउ ट्रू इज़ इट? बिकॉज दीज डेज लाइक स्पेशली फॉर द लास्ट 3 to 4 years आप किसी भी दूसरे तीसरे बंदे से मिलते हैं तो वो कहता है कि मुझे मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज हो रहे हैं. ऑल्सो वाइल दिस ऑल इज हैपनिंग, it is equally important to know that 50% of the people shy away in accepting that they have issues, or they're even seeing a therapist. So let's talk a little about this.
So we often feel that it has become a trend now that everyone is going through a mental health concern, because we see each other telling about that I am going through a problem, I have depression, I have anxiety,
Right.
and so on and so forth, right? but at the same time, if we go through the statistics, if we talk about World Health Organization statistics, it says that 960 million people around the world
My God.
are going through mental health problems.
And that's a huge number.
And that's a 2019 data. And
Oh,
we are
okay.
in 2025
25,
right
yeah.
now. So understand and how many people, and that's a pre-COVID data.
So the graph has certainly gone up.
Right. And beside that, I mean, it also says that 1 in every 4 person is having some or the other kind
Mental
of
health
mental
issues.
health concern, primarily depression or anxiety. So it's definitely not a trend. It's not that everyone is faking or everyone is over-reporting. It is really a concerning factor that we are going through, people are going through mental health issues, and that is the reason we need to address it at present, right? And having said that, जो causes बताए जा रहे हैं वो पूरी तरीके से झूठ नहीं है. They're all not completely wrong. There have been changes in family structure. If you talk about Indian subcontinent, from vertical family structure to horizontal family structure, right? We have come to a nuclear family structure.
Right, absolutely.
So it has increased chances of loneliness, lack of social exposure. Then one of the biggest contributing factor is social media.
I was about to come. That it's a separate
Right.
chapter.